The General Hospital recap features Willow Tait getting ready for her long-awaited bone marrow transplant in this episode. Willow went into isolation in preparation for chemotherapy and her bone marrow transplant. Nana apologized to Carly and asked for help, but was interrupted by Liesl and Drew's arrival. Ned defended himself to the women in his life to no avail, while Drew was questioned by the SEC. Finally, Robert found himself with two women wanting his attention. Now, let's dig a little deeper into the details. Now that the bone marrow was on its way, Willow, Caitlin McMullen, braced herself for a second round of chemo and then a transplant. The idea that she would have to be in isolation during this time upset her, so she wanted a few moments left with Michael, Chad Duell, before her health would take priority. She even worried it would be the last time they'd ever hold hands, and told Michael it was his love that had helped her stay alive so she could be cured. Nina, Cynthia Watros, stopped Carly, Laura Wright, outside the hospital elevator and told Carly she was wrong for blaming her for her difficult relationship with Willow. Nana acknowledged the mistakes she made with Willow in the past, but admitted she was still desperate to have a connection with her daughter, and asked for Carly's help. Just then, Drew, Cameron Matheson, and Liesl, Kathleen Gaddy, got off the elevator ready to deliver all that marrow. At least that cheered Nana up as she was thrilled to see Aunt Liesl, who filled her in on her adventure in Greenland. Liesl praised Drew for saving her as he tried to be modest, but then the SEC showed up before Carly had a chance to fill him in on what happened when he was gone. Liesl was so grateful for Drew's help that she came to his defense with the feds, but Drew finally agreed to talk with them. With Drew and Carly elsewhere, Nina and Liesl had some time alone, but all Liesl did was rant about how wrong it was for the SEC to come down on her savior. This just made Nina more distraught, so she stopped Liesl from talking and changed the subject to saving Willow. They ran to Willow's room, but when they arrived, Willow was gone, and Nana worried that she'd died before the marrow could arrive. Michael explained that Willow was in isolation and even thanked Liesl for donating Willow's life-saving elixir. Once in isolation, Willow lay in bed and actually looked sick as she hugged an emesis basin. To cheer her up, Michael brought Wiley and Amelia to the window, hoping they would give Willow the emotional strength she needed as she geared up for the fight of her life. Remained on his couch, while Jocelyn worried about all these random people in her life. So Dex suggested they cook instead. As Joss has never cooked before, Dex had to give her lessons. He even described how much he loved cooking and how much it meant to him, which typically helps win a woman's heart. They even planned a public trip to the farmer's market together. That brought the conversation right to Sunny as per usual, with Dex informing Joss that Sunny, Maury Spinard, didn't want to get involved in their relationship or be the romance police. This gave Joss food for thought, but then Michael's call interrupted her thoughts. At the Quartermain mansion, Olivia, Lisa Lo Cicero, and Brooke Lynn, Amanda Seton, were ready to defend Carly and berate Ned, Wally Kurth, because they couldn't put their trust in him and believed that he wasn't the one to call the SEC. Ned did his best to defend himself as his daughter and wife placed the blame on him, frustrating and insulting Ned. When Tracy, Jane Elliott, heard what was going on, she also believed that Ned did the deed, but was proud of him for it. Ned pointed out that Drew, Cameron Matheson, and Carly did indeed engage in insider trading, but also stressed that anyone could have turned them in, and it wasn't him. Brooke Lynn didn't buy it, but Ned explained that Drew's situation could harm ELQ, and he'd never do anything to purposely hurt the family company. Olivia didn't believe him and accused her husband of turning into Edward Q right in front of her eyes. Tracy just defended her father, but not her son, as bickering ensued. Oddly enough, the fight came to an end due to Joss and Dex coming through the front door. Tracy was not happy to see them at all, but they had a purpose for being there. Michael wanted them to bring Wiley and Amelia to the hospital, so they got to make more than one public appearance together. Once Joss and Dex were gone, the bickering continued as an exasperated Ned continued to defend himself. Just then, Drew burst through the front door and promptly decked Ned Diane, Carolyn Hennessy, paid a visit to Robert's, Tristan Rogers' office, where he apologized for using her during the Holly, Emma Sam's mess last fall. He then thanked her for helping him out legally with the WSB agent and even flirted with her. Diane flirted back as Robert asked her to share a glass of champagne with him right then and there, but then Sam called because Drew needed an attorney while the SEC questioned him.